Hi, everyone. Welcome. Happy Friday. Welcome to Community Fit 2025. We are here today to start our next 6-week block of our Adjusting to Change Toolkit or ACT class with Mr. James Crater. Um, if you are new to class, can you just send up an emoji if you've never taken a Community Fit class before? Just want to see how many new folks we have on the line today. And so happy for you to be here. And then, of course, welcome back to all of those who have been with us through time. I hope you all are starting the year out healthy and happy. I am starting the year out with quite a strange virus, so I probably sound a little silly, and it is what it is, but I'm getting better. So again, thank you guys for coming, and I will let James actually explain how this block is going to go, and then how the rest of the next couple of months are going to go. So with that, I'll hand it over to James. Thank you.
Thank you, Alicia. Just adjusting some stuff. Welcome to all of the new folks. Really happy to have you. This is actually a bigger attendance than what I thought we would have today, just due to the 3-day holiday and all of that stuff. Um, so if we have never met before, I'm James, and I'm sort of the host, teacher, person, facilitator for Community Fit. On Wednesdays, if you have never joined us for a midweek desk stretch, those are really great classes for embodiment and taking care of stiffness and aches and just like the body portion of you. This series of classes, we're focusing on the neck. So if you've got some neck stuff or embodiment stuff, think about joining us on Wednesdays. The Adjusting to Change Toolkit class, the ACT classes, are really about exactly that, adjusting to change. And change is a really big subject. When I say it, people automatically jump to whatever it is that they have in their head. And change can be changes at work, right? So that's organizational change, things that are going on there. It could be changes in your family, it could be a move, a divorce, a birth. Whatever it is, changes in your everyday experience, a new job, a change in weather, a change in politics or culture, or whatever that is. There, again, it's an idiom, it's a truth of life. The only constant is change. And so, Adjusting to Change Toolkit is a series of classes and courses designed to help you and other people through change, whatever that looks like. Um, this is our third installment of that, and the one we just came out of really had a lot to do with the holidays and getting through the holidays and all of the stress and the tension and the changes that happen with that. This series, we're going to cover, and I took some notes here. I was kind of just designing like where we want to go with this. So here's where we're going to go this series. We always start off with mindfulness. So, here in just a little bit, we're going to talk about mindfulness because mindfulness is the key that unlocks all of this stuff. And mindfulness does not equal sign meditation, although meditation is a version of mindfulness. So, we're going to talk about mindfulness. Next week, we're going to get into the toolkit. And the toolkit, my background is in somatic practices or body based nervous system regulation practices. So we're going to get into the toolkit and introduce you to that or reintroduce you to that. And that will be a through line for the remainder of the weeks. We're going to kind of start our classes with some nervous system regulation practices so that you have it in your system and at your disposal as you need. From there, we're going to go into what's called neuroception and co-regulation. Bob the dog has joined. I don't know if you've heard, but he's overly excited. Don't worry, he'll be around. So neuroception and co-regulation, which is essentially how our body senses safety or non-safety, specifically with other people, because the through line for the remainder of this is going to be about our relationship, not only with ourselves, but with other people. Because when the going gets tough and you're in the midst of change, who and what do we rely on? Other people. So then we're going to go into some emotional literacy. We're going to talk about we're going to talk about compassion, and then end up with relational intelligence. Like I'm sure most of you by now have heard of emotional intelligence. Relational intelligence is related to emotional intelligence and also a little bit different. It's how good, how smart are you at being in relationship with other people? And we're kind of working our way up through that. So, again, we're going to start off with some mindfulness, some nervous system toolkit to take care of ourselves so that we can be better caretakers, not only to ourselves, but other people, and be in better relationship with other people. So, the spin on this go around is not holidays. It's not all of that. We got all that covered. But it is going to be about being in better relationship with people and yourself. So that's where we're headed. Hopefully, that sounds interesting to you, and we'll pick up some pieces along the way. But again, nervous system regulation work is going to be the through line through all of it, because how we sense into safety or danger, quite literally, is very dependent upon how supported by other people we feel. So that's where we're headed. Enough about that. Let's get into mindfulness for today. As you can see, this class is not just practice based, although we're going to have plenty of practices, meaning you're not going to come in, we're not going to jump right into a bunch of exercises and practices and then send you on your way. What we do in this class is talk and contextualize, introduce some practices, some exercises, practice those things, and talk about what it actually means and build the through line for you. So if you're like, wow, there's more conversation than expected in this, you're right. And that's on purpose. Because what often happens within nervous system or somatic or mindfulness classes is you get some exercises and you're like, well, I remember to do those when I'm sitting at the desk on the computer or on my yoga mat or on my meditation pillow or whatever it is, because that's the habit. And then I forget that I can do those exercises, those practices, that caretaking in other places. And what I want for you is for all of those things to be accessible and intuitive no matter where you're at. And so we're going to work to kind of thread some through lines into the whole thing for you. So, again, let's dive into mindfulness. As I said just a bit ago, mindfulness is not meditation, they are not um, interchangeable words. Meditation is a version of mindfulness. And if you've taken these classes with me before, you know the language I always default to with mindfulness is going to be the language of Dr. Ellen Langer, Harvard professor, mother of mindfulness, Dr. Ellen Langer. I gravitate towards things, I'm really curious about things that have a fair bit of complexity to them, or nuance, or ability to kind of look into them in a number of different ways. Mindfulness is one of those things. Mindfulness has been around, or the theory, the concept, the study of it has been around since BC times. Really got more popular through some Greek and Roman times. Synchronously, there some Eastern influence mixed in. So it's like really contemplative and a deep, rich history. Also, it's something that since about the 60s and 70s, science has been studying a lot. So when we're talking mindfulness, we can look at it from this like ancient legacy, mysticism, deep philosophical point of view. And we can also look at it from the point of view of like neuroscience and CAT scans and fMRIs and all of that. And they all say the same thing. So, the language of Dr. Ellen Langer is mindfulness is the ability to notice, pay attention to, and awareness around context and variability. Context meaning what is going on around me, as well as what is going on inside of me. How is what is going on around me, the place I'm in, the time of day, the season, the activity I'm doing or not doing, the other people and animals in the space? How is all of that context, all of that soup that I'm experiencing in the moment, how is it affecting me inside? Does it make me feel safe or not safe? Does it make me feel good or not good? Does it make my belly feel at ease or jittery? Does it make my heart feel soft and light and regular or rapid and stressed? Does it make my bones and my muscles feel like they want to fight, flight, or flee? Or does it make me feel like I'm ready to rest and digest, like I'm just relaxed? Essentially, is the environment around me giving me a thumbs up moment or a thumbs down moment in the body? Also, on the flip side, how does how I feel inside affect how I behave on the outside? Meaning, when I feel like my insides are having a thumbs down moment, and that could be my belly is upset, my heart is racing, I'm tense, I'm tired, I'm emotionally distressed, I'm preoccupied, I'm disassociated and disembodied, thumbs down moments. Or I feel generally good, I feel well rested, I feel fed, I feel happy, I feel engaged, I feel safe here, thumbs up moment. We know we behave differently. You know, when you get home from work and you've had an amazing day, you behave very differently with your family and friends than when you get home from work at the end of the day and you've had a really, really turbulent thumbs down sort of day. I don't need to explain that to you. You know that. You know you are different, even if you don't want to be. It's like you're on autopilot. So, mindfulness is the ability to pay attention to that relationship. How is what's going on out here affecting me in here? And how, when I'm affected in here, am I different and affecting out here differently? Also, with that is variability. Variability is that things change. Things can change. Things can change in a moment, and things definitely change over time. Variability is kind of noticing what I just said. When the world is good, do I notice that I also feel good? And maybe when the world is bad, my context is bad, maybe I feel differently. And that I'm not static on the inside. I'm not the same every day. I'm not the same moment by moment. I'm just not the same. And it's intuitive. We kind of understand that about ourselves. Unfortunately, we don't always give the same awareness and grace and awareness and all to everyone else. We kind of expect them to be robots and to behave the same way. And we're shocked and often dismayed when they're having a bad day. Oh, that's like, what did I do? Right? And so it's the ability to just pay attention to that there is variability, that when you go home and the vibe feels off, or your spouse is different, your kids are different, your friend, your mom, your dad, your dog is different, that's expected. That's variability. And to just kind of pay attention to what is going on that might be associated with that. And in that way, mindfulness itself is a practice in noticing change. What was isn't what is now. What is now is not what will be. That there's an awareness and a practice and a science around paying attention to change. And so mindfulness is really the thing that will unlock the rest of this. And so we're going to spend a little bit of time today practicing some mindfulness and hopefully giving you some language around this. Now, specifically, this is, to be quite honest, going to be my favorite installment because we're going to cover things like paying attention to emotions and naming emotions and paying attention to communication, internal communication, how you talk to yourself, and interpersonal communication, how you talk to other people, and how all of that contributes to relationship building with your own self and with other people. And all of that is my jam. Like my background is in communication and relationships and change and nervous systems. It's all coming together in this because it's all intertwined. The key to being able to do any of this is having some level of mindfulness practice that unlocks the capability to do any of the other stuff. You will not be able to have compassionate, nonviolent communication with yourself or with other people if there's not a level of mindfulness. You will not be able to do relational intelligence and compassion if you do not have mindfulness. And you may not call it that. It may just be emotional intelligence or a gut instinct or whatever, but all of that is mindfulness. It's paying attention to what is going on inside of me, what is going on with other people, and how do we make it a thumbs up versus a thumbs down for everyone involved. So, oh, we got Bob. Say hi. Hi, Bob. He decided to join the course today. I don't know if he would, but he's here. You'll see a lot of Bob. So, mindfulness can be practiced in a number of different ways. Mindfulness, this is where mindfulness and meditation are not the same, but they are connected. Meditation is a version of mindfulness, it is a way to practice mindfulness, and it's amazing. It can quite literally rewire how your brain thinks. It can quite literally rewire impulses and impulse control, or what we might call willpower. It can quite literally reprogram how all of that works. And with all of that, it's going to take time. It's going to take a while to get there. You got to practice and put the time in and over and over and over. It's kind of like playing piano or playing any musical instrument. You're going to really suck for a very long time. And eventually, one day, you'll suck less. And then eventually, you'll be decent. And then you'll get better, and so on and so forth. It's the same with like going to the gym or running a marathon or learning a craft or an art or whatever. It's a knowingness of like, I'm gonna not be good at this thing, and I still have to practice. I still have to go forward. So I encourage you to explore meditation. If mindfulness is important to you, and especially if you suffer from anxious thoughts, stressful thoughts, troubles sleeping, feeling tired all the time, like a meditation practice might be really, really beneficial. And we're going to explore some elements of meditation, but this is not a meditation class. Why? Because my way of teaching mindfulness is more body based. And that's for a number of reasons. Number one, you're going to notice the benefits a lot quicker, like literally today. And especially next week when we get into the toolkit, you'll have access to shifting how your nervous system feels in real time. And it's that quick. It doesn't mean that you're good at it. It doesn't mean that it sticks. It doesn't mean that it fixes anything. It means in the moment, it triages. It's like taking an aspirin or putting a band aid on something. It is helpful, but it's not a long term solution. Practicing it long term then literally becomes a long term solution, and it rewires not just your brain and the way you're thinking about things, but the way your gut responds to things, the way your heart responds to things, the way your muscle and bones respond to things, because your body is making decisions for you between 1 and 10 seconds before your brain has caught up to that decision making. Meaning, your body is releasing chemicals. Your body is going through physiological processes. Your body is telling your brain sending the information your brain needs to it in order for your brain to make a decision of, am I having a thumbs up or a thumbs down? Your body has already made that decision 1 to 10 seconds before your brain has made that decision. And so going in and working with the body is a way of, in the moment, triaging, supporting, helping, and over time, retraining your body to be more resilient, to have more fortitude. Fortitude being the ability to tolerate more, to go in and it's like a capacity building thing. And resilience is when I've gone beyond capacity, when I've gone beyond my capability, when my bucket is run over with stress and change, it's the ability to recoup and pick yourself up quicker. So having both of those, a bigger capacity, and when it's too much, when you've gone overboard, you're not out of the game for too long. It's the ability to pick yourself back up is really important. as is the way the body is informing the brain, the way it's like working with the raw material before it even gets into the meditation practice. So they are connected and they are exclusive from each other, and we are going to work with the body. So context and variability is mindfulness. We're being we're going to explore it through the lens of the body with the expectation that you practice some of this for the next week so you're marginally better next week when you show up and we practice with the toolkit, which puts more practices in the same cycle. And then we keep practicing that over the 6 weeks while we add in emotional intelligence, relational intelligence, compassion, and its connection to the body. So, with that, here we go. Sit back in a chair, lie down, stand up, whatever works best for you. And we're going to get into some noticing. And noticing is mindfulness. When we turn that noticing inward into our body, we have a number of terms we can use. My favorite term for being mindful of the body is what we call focusing. Focusing is a term that somatic practitioners use to talk about what am I feeling on the inside. So we're going to open up a few doorways. And here's the thing. I can't tell you which one's going to be the right way for you to notice, for you to focus on what you're feeling. Which one's going to get you the quickest and most smooth way into mindfulness? That's going to be for you to explore. I'm going to give you some options and choices. You do not have to pick and practice all of them. You pick and practice whichever one works best for you. It's like you're going to go an inch wide and a mile deep versus I got to do all of these things and get all of them in there. So, focusing, I invite you to just notice your breath. Notice, do you breathe in through your nose or in through your mouth? Do you exhale through your nose or your mouth? None of them are right. None of them are wrong. We're not trying to change anything or do something the correct way. We're just doing it and noticing it. And then maybe add some nuance into that. Maybe notice, do I enjoy the way I'm breathing? Am I having a thumbs up or a thumbs down? Not trying to change anything, just noticing. And that might mean I notice I'm not I notice I'm not breathing or I'm holding my breath. Or I notice I'm breathing a lot. And I might like one or the other better. I notice that there's small breaths or big breaths, and neither one is right. You're just being aware. Now, breath work or noticing the breath might be really helpful to you. Or you might want to notice, how does your physical body feel right now? Do the muscles and bones feel like they're rested and supported and integrated into whatever it is you're sitting on, lying on, standing on right now? Meaning, are you yielding? Or does it feel like you need to be prepared and up and out and ready? Neither one is right, neither one is wrong. You're just noticing. How does your neck feel right now? Your shoulders, your back, your hips, your belly. What what do you notice? And maybe here we even start to lend some language. Does it feel tight or loose? Does it feel congested or spacious? Does it feel hot or cold? Does it feel red or blue? Does it feel daytime or nighttime? Does it feel like it's flying or like it's swimming or stagnant? Because what we're looking for is what is called felt sense. Felt sense often doesn't make sense. Making sense would be my neck feels tight. My neck feels like it has a knot in it, because that's a term we use that's not actually a thing. My neck feels like it has a knot in it, and it has a knot in it because I did not sleep well last night, and I didn't sleep well last night because I was stressed about the meeting I have to have today. That's making sense, right? That's a logical narrative. Your body doesn't understand that. Your body doesn't care about the meaning in that sort of way. It's a thumbs up or a thumbs down. So instead, felt sense would be I'm noticing something in my neck and I don't like it. And when I explore it deeper, it feels tight. Tight like what? Tight like a tied up knot? Tight like a rubber band that's been stretched too tight? Tight like a jammed door? Tight like a sock that's too tight? Like, what do you mean when you say tight? Or if it's something that feels really good, it feels good like what? Like a warm bath? Like a day off? Like a hot cup of tea or your favorite, but like, what does that mean? What does it remind you of? And practicing that in the body is going to be really important, especially when we get to, in a couple of weeks, emotional literacy. And emotional literacy means we are no longer okay with using the words, I feel stressed, or I feel bad, or I'm angry. It's what do I mean when I say that? What what is the complexity there? Where is it in my body? And so we're starting off kind of small. And for a lot of people, it's real big because we just haven't spent that time. So I can notice it in my breath, I can notice it in my body. I could also just simply notice an area that feels good. Where in your body is having a thumbs up moment right now? And it may be your foot, it may be your back, it may be your upper body, it may be somewhere else. And again, starts to lend some language to what does a thumbs up moment feel like to me? And where exactly is that in my body? Again, super, super simple. Where is having a thumbs up moment? And can you describe it in maybe three different ways? And also, not easy, because this, for a lot of people, might be the first time ever you've been asked to locate somewhere that feels good and describe it in three ways. It's just not common, but it is simple. It's a simple ask, not easy. And in turn, maybe notice somewhere that is having a thumbs down moment. What just doesn't feel good right now? For me, if I'm going to lend some language here, it's like my left rib cage right here feels congested and tight. It feels shrunken and it feels like it's connected up into my neck somehow, like it's like inside. When I'm sensing into those left ribs, I'm also very aware of my neck. And so to me, that means there's a relationship there. I'm not sensing into two things. I was not aware of my neck until I became more aware of my ribs. Now, I practice this stuff. So my ability to feel in and language things is likely going to be different than yours. Don't compare. I'm just simply loaning you how I would language that. Your experience is going to be vastly different. Then we're going to do one single intervention. And this is what I mean when I say the toolkit. The nervous system toolkit is going to be a list of or five different categories of practices. And those categories are like buckets, and we can fill those buckets with different kinds of practices that are like. Interventions is how I kind of describe them. Because again, in the moment, they serve as triage things to make you feel better, to disrupt the cycle. But done over time, they build up fortitude and resilience and capacity. One of my favorite interventions from the toolkit is just going to be an exaggerated exhalation. When we exaggerate our exhalations, that is a cue to your nervous system, to your body to relax. It is simply like a shortened, condensed sentence, like shorthand from you to your body saying, we're safe here. We're okay. Because if an imaginary or real lion walked into your room right now, or if an earthquake happened, or a stranger walked into your space and startled you, whether they were friendly or other, your body would not have time to do a slow, exaggerated exhalation. What it would do is do a quick inhale and prepare for whatever's next. When we do that slow exhalation, it's a way of convincing or telling your body, we're okay here. We can relax. We have time and space to prioritize exhaling. So we're going to do 5 normal human being inhales, long exaggerated exhalations. I always get the question here, do I do it through my nose? Do I do it through my mouth? How long? How whatever? None of that matters. None of that matters. And all of it matters. For this practice, do what you need to do. Breathe however you need to breathe, putting extra emphasis on the exhalation. If you've been doing this for a while and you're like, I want to add more nuance, in through the nose, out through the mouth. It's going to look and sound a whole lot like this. Shortened inhale, normal human being, exaggerate the exhale. Let's do 3 to 5. Ready? Go. Few more. Maybe one more. And then go in and check. Check back with the area that felt good or the area that didn't feel good. Or check in with just your breath. Did anything open up? Does it feel more at ease? Or your body? Does it feel like it's yielding a little bit more or other? We're not always headed in the direction of like, oh, that made me feel better. Sometimes it's like a scientific method. I'm gonna I'm gonna notice. I'm gonna try something. Hopefully, it's getting me to a more thumbs up, better space. Sometimes it doesn't, and then I know like that's not the practice for me, and that's okay. I can still notice that things change. So your homework for the next week is to practice mindfulness, whatever that means for you. If you're new at it, you might want to notice your breath every now and again and set an alarm, like every 2 hours or 3 times a day or once a day, right before you go to bed, right when you wake up. Just notice. Or physical tension. Maybe you notice that in the middle of your workday. You set an alarm and you do a check in. And then just practice that long, exaggerated exhalation after you've noticed and check back in. I'm letting you know right now that you want to get on board sooner rather than later with a mindfulness practice, because that is literally the key that unlocks and opens everything else. So that's the class for today. I'll stick around for whatever questions you might have, and I hope you join us for the rest of the journey. And Alicia, if you got anything else to add there, great.
I am learning how to use my new laptop, clearly. If you just saw me struggling with the video, it's very touchy. If I barely touch it, it shuts on
Yep.
and off. So, and there's
Yep.
Bob over there. Hi, Barbara. He's
Nosy
all
neighbor
fluffy
Bob.
again. I love it. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. I know I am really excited to get back into my mindfulness practice. Over the holidays, things just get crazy and it's really easy to
Mhm.
get wrapped up in everything that's going on and not be centered. So definitely looking forward to next week. Raymond just popped into the chat our Community Fit playlist on YouTube. This is available to anyone and everyone. We will let you know when we are able to post the classes that are happening now, but you can go back and view the classes that have happened in the past over the last several years. Actually, there are many there. Um, so with that, if you don't have any more questions, have a great weekend, and hopefully we'll see you on Wednesday, if not on Friday.
You got it. Thank you, every.
Rita just asked, no, we don't have written materials for Community Fit. It is an online virtual class that builds upon each other. Each class builds upon each other in the 6 weeks, I can't talk today, 6 week block. But you will have the ability to go back and watch the recordings. So
Yeah.
hopefully that will help.
Yeah.
All
And I'll
right.
always let you know day of at the beginning of class if it's like you might want to have a notepad or something to take with you if we have something like this that has more, like when we get to emotional literacy and some of those, like there will definitely be, you might want to have a notepad with you to take some notes.
Yeah, awesome. All right. Thank you, James. Thank you, Raymond. Everyone have a great long weekend, and we'll see you next week.
You got it. Bye, everybody.